Welcome to background noise. No, welcome to clever orbits and birds.
Yeah, they're really going crazy. I'm going to move where there were less birds.
Welcome to Conspiracy, the Next Generation first season episode examined by Clever Orbits. This is Louis Brandmeier. With me I have Tyler Brandmeier.
Hi.
And Dr. Richard Futrell. Oh, sounds like he died. Oh, well, that's all right.
He had just become a doctor.
He had just become a doctor. It was great having you, Richard. You were a light when you were here. I guess he's gone.
Dark.
So, yeah, I used to love, today I was kind of bored with it, this episode. It was okay. I mean, it was interesting. Well, who am I kidding? I was not that interested. I was actually really getting excited about Richard talking about this episode because I don't have that much. I mean, I've got some stuff, but I couldn't find anything philosophically interesting. I couldn't find a moment of compassion. I liked the scene where Data talks to himself, and I like these types of scenes throughout The Next Generation. I like his laughter in the beginning, along with the random banter. But the weight of the conspiracy, even the plot was not executed very well. I mean, it's great to have somebody's head explode, I guess.
Always.
And the sense of dread they cultivate throughout this thing is great. But the weight of the conspiracy outweighs the execution. It's so much better. I guess he died on his phone, and then his phone just hung up. It's so sad. But so, it wasn't my favorite episode. In retrospect, I regret having consented to it. But the creepy homing beacon at the end was interesting. Richard, is that you? Are you alive?
I'm back.
Well, it looks like one of those parasitical creatures was trying to take you down, and you beat the crap out of it, didn't you?
Oh, I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, great.
Louis, I see something on his neck.
So,
when I said there might be a conspiracy, I was just talking about the difficulty of integrating different races into the Federation. It's a constant process.
Oh.
Yeah, why can't we integrate the worm people?
They are, after all, a superior form of life.
True.
Yeah, so this is one of my favorite episodes.
Yeah, you need to be the opening salvo on this, man.
I feel kind of weird saying it's my favorite episode of The Next Generation because it's not really an episode of Star Trek The Next Generation. It's or
Star Trek in general.
It's an episode of some other thing. It's some parallel universe. This was Star Trek. Some other strange universe where Star Trek is about these really weird conspiracies and all these strange character interactions. It was about, in Star Trek Next Generation in the first season, they were always trying to figure out what's this show going to be. And every single episode was an attempt to figure out what's this show going to be. And this is one which, while it's hysterical and fun to watch on its own, I'm glad it wasn't this the whole time. Because like you said, watching it over and over again, there's not actually a whole lot to sink your teeth into. It's more just it's fun because it's strange. It's strange and weird. The way everyone is behaving is strange and weird. And even the camera angles are slightly off. My favorite part in this episode is the part where Picard gets the code 47, or is it 49? Code 47, I think, in his room. And there's this shot of him in his bed. And there's this flashing red light. And and Riker's on the screen, and Picard's like grumpy. He rolls out of bed, and it's this very narrow bed, and it's got the stars behind him. It's just this intensely awkward moment that makes me laugh every single time.
Well, I'm glad somebody enjoyed this episode.
No, I mean, if you're just looking for entertainment, like they go down to this mining planet, and then like there's Walker Keel, who has this insane look in his eyes. Like from the moment he shows up on the screen, you can tell this is going to be good because he looks like he's someone who's just completely insane. Like he's looked into the fire for like 10 years. And then when they get to the Earth, the admirals are talking to them, and it's like this weird, creepy interaction with the three admirals sitting there in this like plane room in front of a blue curtain, and they're like, "Oh, it always delights us when the Enterprise comes home to the nest." What is this? What's going on here?
That was an interesting choice of words. Yes.
And then they beam down, and it's like this empty room, and they're eating the tube grubs, and Picard makes this just wonderful, disgusted face when he opens up the lid and sees all those tube worms in there. It's just his wonderful face. And then Riker comes in. He's good as always. And they're all very sad about missing their trip to Pacifica.
Yeah,
I like that.
No blue oceans for us.
In the very first scene, it starts with Riker being like, "Fuck it, warp 6. Let's get there faster."
Did you catch that Geordi said, "Yes, full impulse," right after the warp 6 order?
No. Geordi
yes, full impulse, Riker. Full impulse at warp 6.
Oh, no. And what was up with this blue joke that Geordi was telling Data at the very beginning? Now let's try that in hyperspace. What do you think the joke was?
It was really a lewd joke, yes.
And that's something that you get a lot of in the first season that's missing in the later seasons. Is there's this weird sexual undercurrent in a lot of the episodes. It's coming from Gene Roddenberry. And, like, you know it.
Directly, yeah.
And, like,
Leave
Star
it to
Trek
him
is
to
pretty
make Data
sexless
fully functional.
after this. Yeah. I mean, the second episode of this entire series is about the crew all getting drunk and having sex.
Yeah.
Just get it out of the way now, guys.
Season 1's a lot of fun. Season 1's a lot of fun. Because you can tell the, like, seething chaos behind the scenes, and that's what I enjoy in all these episodes. It's like the thing that's moving around in Remek's neck.
That thing was pretty disgusting.
I thought it was cool.
I adored it.
And then there's the fact that there's this whole plot line they just dropped where they're like, it was a homing beacon. And then, no.
It never got followed up.
That was being paid off.
Like, the fact that Starfleet Command got wiped out by the crew of the Enterprise, we don't never hear about this again. I mean, I'm sure you know the story that they were always looking for a villain.
Just be like 3 admirals.
They were always looking for a villain in the first season and trying different stuff out, and it was going to be these guys, the conspiracy bugs, and then it became the Borg later. But the conspiracy guys were a good idea because you can do it on a small budget. You just get human actors.
Yeah.
You'd think they were priming us for the reintroduction of the Romulans.
Yeah. Yeah, the build-up's fun. There's, like, Data finding the conspiracy, the idea that, you know, the command ranks are being shuffled. There's this great mystery where you don't really know what's going on yet. Apparently in the original version there was actually a coup within Starfleet, and Gene Roddenberry couldn't handle that. And so he made it into these bugs.
Well, that's actually interesting. I'm curious about that.
Yeah, Gene Roddenberry didn't like the idea that there would be any kind of conflict, of course. Because in the future we've overcome
of course.
Conflict.
Yeah, that was him.
And but not sexual tension.
Eyebrow wink.
You brow winked. That's funny.
Yeah.
Let
me look at my notes. Let me look at my notes for the details. Get the deets. Oh, another part I really like, and I think about this a lot, is when Captain Picard's talking to one of the messed up admirals, and he says, it has been ascertained what happened to the Stargazer, or not the Stargazer, the Walker Keel ship. And the Admiral responds,
Implosion.
Implosion. Not really an answer. Like,
Due to the gross negligence of her captain.
Yeah. But it's not an answer.
Gross negligence.
It's like when you want to ask what happened to a ship that obviously exploded, you don't say it exploded.
Well, I mean, it actually exploded, and he said it imploded. So
I know it imploded. But I just
I don't even know if he gave an accurate answer.
I feel like everything the aliens do, like maybe this isn't. I feel like really the weirdness in this episode is probably mostly because of the chaos in the writing process. But maybe,
there's the documentary "Chaos on the Bridge."
Yeah.
It's all about the first season.
But maybe they were trying to make the aliens all seem kind of off. Like the fact that you ask the alien what happened to the ship and the alien says it imploded, and that's not like the right kind of answer you wanted. Or the fact that there's this weird line about the Enterprise coming home to the nest. I think it's probably just that the writers were like, nuts though.
Yes.
Implosion. So whenever someone asks, sometimes when people just ask me some question and I feel like I don't have a well-defined answer, what I think is implosion. Yes. What happened?
Of course.
Implosion.
So, who noticed the obvious Riker stunt double in the Quinn fight?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God. I was about to mention that. Not even close to his face. Just different face altogether.
This also doesn't make sense from the perspective of the conspiracy. So the first time I watched it, I was like, they've been conducting themselves in a really subterfugical manner. Like they're really clever and subtle, and they've managed to take over vast swaths of Starfleet this way. And now this one guy is just like, oh yes, well this is a superior form of life, and he does like you. And I guess he was just saying that out of arrogance.
I mean, he just straight up attacks.
Yeah.
I mean,
it is funny.
Maybe
they couldn't.
Vitamins, the wonders of the body.
His whole character was just stupid. The whole thing. I hated that.
Me too, buddy. Oh, it was just.
Oh, why is
Renegade?
What
is making sense?
Why is Renegade a Starfleet ship title?
Yeah, what's up with that?
I mean, it shouldn't be. The bugs, I guess, were new, interesting looking. I mean, and the fact that they apparently like Gach.
The way they
those are two grubs.
I like the part where the grub where the worm is going into Remek's mouth, and he like moves to the side to open his mouth to let the worm in, and it's very clear that the worm is just like on a pole, and someone off screen is pushing it into his mouth. We seek peaceful coexistence.
Yeah.
The Picard and Riker, they don't even have to talk. They just look at each other, and then they kill him. And then it ends with this perfunctory captain's log, where Captain Picard's like, it's a shame after being taught to respect life to have to kill it, but, I guess that's what you got to do.
Yeah,
but we had to.
Well, it was really clear. It was really clear that he did not want peaceful coexistence. Like, that line delivery. That line delivery, it was mind-boggling because he... And you could speak from the perspective of the mother alien speaking through Remek, or the actor, or both. But, like, how was he supposed to be delivering that line? I'm not sure. Like, the line is written... It's not a good line to have a thing that is... Well,
it's great.
Maybe...
It's hilarious. It's memorable.
Okay. I mean... Yeah.
These aliens are just kind of off. They're like, everything about them is just a little bit weird. And the fact that he would say, we seek peaceful coexistence in a tone of voice that obviously implies he doesn't, while his neck is pulsating.
That's redeemed. Yeah, that makes sense. That's good.
It's the weirdness of the aliens that's like penetrating through this whole episode. Like when they're in that mining cave having those weird interactions, and there's the blue guy. I don't know his species.
They don't tell us.
That's their flaw, a lack of memory. What is this?
Huh.
What is
the Cliff Bolian.
He's like the quasi-pseudo-Bolian, yeah.
Yeah. It's directed by Cliff Bole. Funny.
Oh, that is cute. Well, this is kind of sad. I mean, I don't have anything that was salient to me in this episode. I mean, talking about the plot holes, it was kind of boring and slow. There was no moment of compassion. This is almost worse than that Mud episode.
Oh, man.
But
no,
I'm sure Richard has something that will redeem it.
It's a glimpse into an alternate universe. That's what it is. This is something Star Trek could have been. And it didn't go that way. And I'm glad it didn't go that way, but I'm glad we got one sample to look at.
So this was just like the Mud episode then. It was like a permutation that thankfully did not become the pattern. Yeah, but I didn't actually enjoy
the Mud episode.
Yeah, me neither.
This had all kinds of weird shit. Implosion.
Well, I guess that's the theme of the episode, ladies and gentlemen. This is what we were able to make for you.
This plot line imploded. That's what happened. They were like, let's do this thing where these bugs come and destroy Starfleet from the inside, and then they made this episode and realized it was going nowhere.
Caved in, and then the head exploded.
The plot line imploded. That's what happened to Remick at the end. He imploded. The title of this episode should have been Implosion.
Yeah.
That would have been cute and weird and funny.
There's also a bunch of interesting, it's always interesting to see the stuff that they were trying to build up in season 1 that they just forgot about later, like all this backstory with Jack Crusher. And, of course there's mentions about that stuff later, but they're really into it in the first season. They're really trying to push this Jack Crusher backstory, and it just never caught on.
So that is one thing that I thought about that I did like while I was watching the episode, was this idea of really getting more into a backstory for the bridge crew, whereas the original series didn't really have a bridge crew history. Like we're just all here, we're here together now, we don't talk about what happened before. But with these people, something did happen before, and it's relevant and it's valuable to acknowledge and for us to be curious about. But go ahead.
Well, like the whole deal that Walker Keel was Picard's old friend, and he says old good friends are few and far between, so he's going to do this thing for him. And,
Walker Keel was his old friend and is now his dead friend.
Yep.
Old dead friend. Still.
Old dead friend. So please, Richard, we've got more time.
You really just want I don't think it needs redemption. It is what it is. It is, we don't need to.
And it isn't what it isn't.
Something it's not.
Well,
it's it's a change of pace. It's definitely different, and it's very strange to see the Star Trek crew and the Enterprise in this kind of situation. It's completely incongruous. It's like, imagine if this was a season 7 episode, after we built up the real characters of Picard and Geordi and all these guys, and imagine they go through this weird shit. They're like shooting a monster that's coming out of someone's gut.
Starfleet Admiral or something, yeah.
Man.
Not even an admiral.
Well, yeah, that was a commander. And they have history with him. He appeared in the episode before, and he was a dick to everybody back then, but he's more than a dick now.
Yes, he is a dick and balls.
Yeah, like they go in that room where he is, and he's like sitting in that room alone, and it's this really small room where there's only one chair and a giant screen.
And the chair is like a spinny chair, and
like what
much
is
like
room?
The Captain Pike chair.
Yeah, but why is it? It's like swivel. It's bolted to the floor. What's the purpose of this place? And what have you? There's just so much strange stuff. This episode raises more questions than it answers.
It's pretty clear that it was I thought it was clear that where the homing beacon signal got sent from.
Yeah, Yeah. But
that was what the mother creature was doing
for that purpose. Clearly, that was
that shriek was unnerving.
Went in there.
Yeah, why was that room in existence previously? What's that?
That shriek, I forgot to mention, it chilled me to the bone. I'm going to have nightmares.
Oh, you mean when that creature inside his chest died?
I will never forget it.
Beautiful.
Just, continue with your explanation.
For Richard, this was a completely effective episode.
It was effective at making me laugh.
It was effective on all points. Oh, man.
I mean,
well, for me, it failed. I'm going to go ahead and call it. It was a 6.9 out of 10.
Nice.
Yeah. My first time giving that rating. Feels good.
Nice. That's what that is.
Feels good. After our hiatus from Clever Orbits, this is what I come back to.
Oh, Louis, I'm so sorry.
You learn how to fix the barn door after the cows have come home. This is Kirk to Scotty.
Where was that from? Oh,
Star Trek 3.
Yeah. It sounded familiar. Yeah.
Although I could say the same thing about Clever Orbits that he says about the Enterprise. A monkey and 3 trainees could run. I'm just kidding. The monkey is the conference call line. We are the 3 trainees.
I was going to say a monkey wouldn't be a good participant in the podcast because monkeys can't speak human language.
But they can sign.
Not much.
Their names, yeah.
When you teach monkeys sign language, what they say is, give me food, give me food, give me food, give me food. That's pretty much what they say.
It's true.
A little peek into their mental life. Give me tube worms to eat.
Give me 2 worms.
All right, let's conclude with the what do you call them? Ratings.
I don't know. Within the alternate universe this episode comes from, I'm going to give it a 9.5. But within the actual Star Trek universe, this is not something I would recommend as a first episode to watch. So I give it a 7.5.
Oh, wow! It's good to know that you're close.
What if I gave it a 10?
I would declare the podcast dead on arrival.
I see.
That would be it. We'd be done because clearly you would have been replaced in some places unknown. This is not a 10. This is not a 10.
You say while rocking back and forth. It can get better than this. It can get better than this.
What number is it then? I don't know.
Star Trek is better than this. Star Trek is better than this. I've got to remember.
Not always. That's the thing.
It's like the scene in Star Trek 2 where Spock knows he's about to die and he puts his hand on McCoy and says, "Remember." I'm like McCoy. I need to remember. Star Trek is going to be okay.
That's right. Remember the Spock's brain. Or not.
Well,
I'm sorry.
Tyler, do you have a rating?
I don't know. Something about early birds.
They get the worm?
Sure.
Awesome. Well, this has been, sadly, an episode of Clever Orbits. We will consign to the flames!